Kerbal Space Program. Zombies in space. Episode 15. 2 new spacecraft. So after Jeff Soar's landing on Minimus, we've decided that it's time to create new spacecraft. And spend money on science. Okay, we've only got 188 points. Oh, hey wait, we did get that one. Alright, things are going very quickly here. We could get that, precision engineering, could get anything along those lines. Advanced flight control, aerodynamics, advanced construction. What to do? Actually, we can afford 2 technologies along those lines. Do we save up for that? Do we buy that? Do we save up for that? Ooh, some fancier wheels. Because we haven't invented wheels yet. Decisions. Okay, make a decision quick. Anyway, we have decided to create new spacecraft because, well, we can't seem to land the old one very well. Okay, what? You don't have the points. Get over it. There's some creative stuff in there, but nothing immediately useful. Oh boy. I can't decide. Ooh, basic jet engine. Well, I've never actually built rockets that use jet engines on the first stage before. That would be interesting. Maybe we should get the jet engines. Oh, no, we're just going for general rocketry. Okay. Advanced rocketry, could still afford that, can still afford something. Okay. So we do get the jet engines. We can get those. The bigger tanks. Man, this is painful. Maybe I shouldn't have included this in the video. Okay, advanced rocketry, come on, yes. And that means we can move on to bigger tanks. Someday. Okay, that's it. You can't afford anything else. Give it up. There we go. Alright, so build a new rocket. If you look, this one's definitely got a wider base to it for landing. And it's got these 3 probes along the side. So I figured, well, I'll build a multiple craft. Oh, collected and recorded. Alright. Doing some science on the way up. Long pressure, collected and recorded. Nothing to see there. Okay. But I've got 3 unmanned probes attached to this rocket. And the idea is that I can get them to do science on the way up, possibly in space. Man, this thing wobbles pretty scary. It's a scary wobble. Possibly do some research in space. Oh yes, and it's got the jet engines too. And also have them land, and if there's any scientific instruments left, do some research on the ground as well before I retrieve them. And then of course there's the top stage that's a lander that can go to Moon or Minimus. So it's a very creative design, I think. I don't know. Maybe it's not so creative. It's ambitious. That it is. And these jet engines don't really seem to use a lot of fuel. I think I put too much fuel in there for them. And apparently, yeah, I should try to ditch them before they flame out, because apparently when they flame out, it just causes all kinds of problems. Because they don't necessarily all flame out at once, and then your rocket loses control. Anyway, we're 11 kilometers up. and still rising. Speed's increasing. Oh my goodness, we're over the speed of sound already. We're flying at supersonic speeds, and we're getting to about 15 kilometers up. That's the other thing I forgot to mention with these jet engines. You've got to let them sit on the launch pad if you're using them on a rocket. Sit on a launch pad and let them kind of warm up first so they can build up their thrust. Otherwise you're going to have, well, if you're using anything to support your rocket, you're going to see your rocket drop as opposed to actually taking off. And so, oh, this isn't good. The rockets are going to run out of fuel before the jets do. Are those jets still firing even? Okay, the rockets are out of fuel, so we eject and the jets take off. And those I can detach. That was yet another dangerous maneuver on my part. But you can see there are all kinds of parts falling away. Okay, so maximum height's going to be about 30,000 meters. I don't say kilometers. And we are now at about 3 times the speed of sound. Mach 3 and 30 kilometers up. Okay. Actually, this isn't working too badly. The jets didn't cause too much problem, although they could have when I released them and they still were firing. Okay, ditch that stage. So now we just have that middle booster, the 3 probes, and the lander. Try and do some science. Rarefied air is caused. Too quick. Too quick. I think I've got everything sped up again now. Goo something. Maybe it's not sped up. I'm just going through things quickly. But now I've got a whole stack of scientific instruments that I can use. Of course, some of them only seem to work when you're on the surface, so that limits things. Oh, those engines have burnt out. But of course, I want them in space. Can't really drop one at a time. Okay, collect and record atmospheric readings. Yes, write that down. Because unfortunately, here we go. The height of our trajectory is well into space. I just have to do some fancy work to actually get a stable orbit out of everything. But anyway, so as I was saying before, I can't drop one probe at a time, otherwise my craft will be unbalanced and it will cause it to spin. I've experimented with this before. In the past I thought, well, once you're in space it shouldn't matter so much whether everything's symmetrical or not. Well, I think the issue with that is a matter of momentum. And so if you have more mass on one side, it's going to take more energy to move it. So if you fire your thrusters, it's going to go into a spin anyway. Which I guess is really basic physics, but you know, after watching all kinds of movies you think, oh hey look, you don't need spacecraft that are symmetrical. Not entirely true. They can be whatever shape they want as long as they're not trying to change orbits or move anywhere. If they're just floating around, doesn't matter what shape they're in, or what shape they are. So anyway, just checking the fuel situation. Doing pretty good that way. But if I'm going to get rid of these now that we're in orbit, I will have to put a little bit of fuel into them so that they can deorbit and land on the surface, as the plan was. So I'm just trying to balance out the liquid fuel in the oxidizer. I don't know what the proportions are. I guess I could have done some math. But the other thing is, this is not the most exact science, the way that they've got this fueling thing set up. It's like in, out, stop, in, stop, out, stop. It's craziness. Speaking of which, though, if you look at these probes, because they got everything strapped to one side, they aren't exactly perfectly symmetrical either. And so it does get interesting when I try to get them to deorbit. The thing is, I don't have to be overly precise with them. I just have to get them inside of the atmosphere so that eventually they will come down, and hopefully they come down somewhere where it's safe. And yeah, more of this transferring of the fuel. And see, at this point it's not all that important that they're completely balanced, because they will be ejected from the main craft and they will be traveling separately. I will open up their solar panels. Oops, test the gear, test the lights. Okay. Open the panels for the main craft. And decouple. So we got one probe free, and we might as well follow it, see what it does. Okay, here we go. Da-da-da. So I'm kind of trying to plan out where I want this thing to land. Very often I like to have something land in the desert early on, because the desert's pretty easy to hit. It's big. It's very big. And so as you can see, the craft is spinning, but it is going within the atmosphere, and it's spinning really well. Hey, there's Moon. Hello, Moon. And there goes the main craft. It's already almost 2 kilometers away. So we'll rename it. We'll call it Probe A. Excellent. Now that we're in the darkness, we're kind of losing some of the electric charge. And it's going. Oh, do some science. Write it down. Write it down. I decided to leave the solar panel out so we can just watch it fall apart as we're going through re-entry. Just for the heck of it. And it's wobbling out. There go the panels. And we're in. Looks like we're going to land in the water. Parachutes are deployed. Parachutes are open. 200 meters up, 5.6 meters per second. I think we're going to be okay. And it falls, and we're good. So we do some science with whatever's left to be used and recover it. And this is another spacecraft I was just testing. This is the landing stage. You'll notice there's a probe on top. Oh, I'm doing some science, because, you know, if you got the instruments, you might as well do it. So there's a probe on top of a capsule. This is going to be our rescue craft, and basically the plan is to use this to go get Jeanery and recover whatever science he's got, and allow him to gather more science on Moon. So the first craft that we were showing you in this episode, the idea is to send it to Minimus and research or land on and do some science in a new area of Minimus. And this craft is going to Moon to rescue the zombie we abandoned there. Anyway, again, do as much science as we can and recover the craft. See you next time.